Good morning, boys and girls. We are going to have our second lesson in the unit called the Human Body, Systems and Senses. We started yesterday with an introduction, and this is one of the pictures that we showed yesterday that showed all of the body systems. You have studied some of these body systems in other years in core knowledge, and we're going to study more of them this year. You will study more next year and the year after. But we want to concentrate every year on a couple of these different systems. And today we're going to talk about the skeletal system. This is Ricardo. He is your narrator for this unit. So he is telling the story for you. I am a reader. I'm not a narrator. Ricardo is the narrator. And he's going to tell you more about the skeletal system. I like his t-shirt, gives you good hints. Okay. Here he is, ready to get started. So before we get started and before I let Ricardo begin the story, let's review just a tiny bit. Do you remember what the skeletal system is made of? That's right. It's made of bones, individual bones that are not put together like they would be inside the body, or a skeleton, which is actually bones that are in the right order. The skeleton supports the human body, and it protects important organs inside the human body. Do you remember that cells are the building blocks of life? We talked about cells that build tissues, that build organs, that are part of a system. Okay. These various human body systems are interconnected like a complex machine. They all need to be healthy and work together. Otherwise, the human body does not function properly. Do you remember when we talked about the classification of animals? We learned about a few ways in which animals are classified. One way that scientists grouped animals is whether or not they had a backbone. What are animals called if they have a backbone? That's right, they're called vertebrates. And what are animals called that do not have a backbone? Invertebrates. I love that prefix on vertebrates. That means no vertebrate, no backbone. Okay. So are humans and other mammals vertebrates or invertebrates? You're right. We are vertebrates. We have a backbone. We're going to learn a little bit about that backbone. And in this unit and then in this chapter, we're going to call it a skeleton. You're going to hear a special term today about your skeleton, and it's the word axial. Would you say that word with me? Axial. Axial. The word axial has a root in it as well, and it might make you think of the word axis. Where have you heard of the word axis before? Some of you have heard that word before. We talk about the Earth's axis. Okay. An axis is an imaginary straight line that goes straight through the center of an object, dividing it into two equal pieces. We talk about the Earth's axis and how the Earth is tilted on its axis. But today we're going to talk about an axial, same root word, skeletal system within each of our bodies. Okay, it is located up and down the middle of our body, just like an axis is up and down the middle of the Earth or another sphere. So listen carefully to learn more about the axial bones in the skeletal system. Here's your narrator, Ricardo. Hello, everybody. Ricardo here. I've got a new riddle for you. We are a column of bones stacked on top of one another. Collectively, we make up your backbone. We begin with the letter V. What are we? Well, today we're going to talk about the system that gives your body its structure. It allows you to stand up on your own. If you've ever seen a building being built, and I wish you were here to see our building being built, you know that it has a framework that gives the building its shape and it keeps it from toppling over. Your body has a very similar structure. Do you know what that structure is called? It keeps your body from collapsing on the floor. That's right, it is your skeleton. And the column of bones stacked on one another that Ricardo was talking about that start with the letter V are your vertebra. Haha, we've heard that a lot in your last unit. Your skeleton is made up of bones. Bones can support a lot of weight, but they did not start out that way. Before you were born, your skeleton began as cartilage, and it's firm and rubbery tissue, and it's tough like gristle. If you touch the top of your ear and you can feel that, it's bendy a little bit. That's cartilage. And all of your bones started out like that before you were even born. The top of your ear is always going to be cartilage. It's not going to turn into bone. But much of the cartilage in your original skeleton hardened and turned into bone. By the time you were born, you had about 300 bones in your body. An adult has about 206. What? So you now have fewer bones than what you did when you were a tiny baby? Wow, where did all those extra bones go? Did the bones just disappear? No, they grow and they change over time. Many of those bones joined together, like those at the end of your spine, called the tailbone, or the bones in your skull. They joined together to form one bone, and therefore the number of bones went down. Strange. I love it. Very cool. Have you ever heard the saying, hard as a rock? Rocks are hard due to the minerals that are stored inside them. The outside part of your bones become hard by storing minerals too. Minerals enter your body in the food you eat and the vitamins you take. Calcium, contained in dark leafy greens, broccoli, and dairy products such as milk, is one of the important minerals that make your bones as hard and strong as rock on the outside. Calcium is also needed to help your blood clot or thicken when you accidentally cut yourself. Without it, your blood would be too thin for you to maintain good health. At least until you reach your full height, your bones will continue to grow with you. It's hard to imagine rock-hard bones growing, isn't it? They cannot stretch or bend, so how do bones grow? Well, bones are made up of living tissue. New bone tissue is being made all the time, working to replace worn-out cells and making it possible to heal a broken bone. It's amazing. Before you were born, your bones were solid, but many of them have become hollow over time, making them very lightweight, yet still very strong. This is how bones differ from rocks. Rocks are solid all the way through, but bones are porous, meaning that they have many tiny holes through which liquid pass. Marrow is a jelly-like tissue, and it fills the cavities of your porous bones. Bone marrow is your body's blood cell factory. It produces blood cells to fight infection and carry oxygen throughout your body. What? Your blood is made inside your bones. Wow. Bones come in many shapes and sizes. Some are long and rod-like and have knobby ends. Some are short and look like cubes, whereas others are flat, and some have their other unique shapes. Even though there are many different kinds and sizes of bones, all human skeletons look pretty much the same. Your skeletal bones are designed in specific ways to support and protect every part of your body. There are 3 groups of bones that form your axial skeleton. Remember, the axis of the earth is a straight line that goes through the center of the earth. So your axial skeleton is going to support the center of your body. 3 groups of bones that form your axial skeleton: the spine, the skull, and the ribs. The bones that support the center of your body are called axial bones. It is the job of the axial bones to protect the most important organs in your body. You've already learned that taxonomists classify animals into 2 groups, vertebrates and invertebrates. Do you remember which group humans are classified? That's right, we are vertebrates. Vertebrates are animals with backbones. Your backbone or spine is actually more than one bone. It's a column of many bones stacked on top of one another. Bend forward, which means you'll have to stand up to do that probably. Feel along the middle of your back. I'll give you a moment. Do you remember those little bumps running down your back? As you may have learned in an earlier domain, those are your vertebrae, a series of bones fitted one on top of the other to form a spinal column or backbone. Cartilage separates each vertebra, filling in the spaces and cushioning them from one another. Each vertebra has a hole in it, allowing the spinal cord, a very important pathway of nerves, to pass through it. Your spinal column protects your spinal cord. Your spinal column, which is the bones, and that's one of those cushiony cartilage, this is the nerve. This is the spinal cord protected by the spinal column, but it's not solid, so you get to move, your spine gets to move and you can bend, and it's cushioned by these beautiful discs. In addition to providing the main support for your skeleton, your spine is only one part of your axial skeleton. Sit up as straight and tall as you can. Look around the room. Do you see somebody else? Does the side profile of your neighbor's spine look straight? Does your spine look perfectly straight? Probably not. Your spine is curved, looking more like a letter S than a letter L. Can you think of any reason why it might be better to have a slight curve in your back rather than to be completely straight? If your back were as straight as a board, you wouldn't be able to bend. The shape of your spine allows you much greater flexibility. Remember, the job of your axial skeleton is to protect your most important organs. Your most important organs are in the trunk of your body, and they're being protected by this blued out part. The spinal cord, your lungs, and all the guts inside there that do all their important work. And the most important up here, your brain. That's right. Axial skeleton protects the most important organs in your body. You've already heard about the fabulous tailbone at the lower end of your spine. So what's up at the top, the other end? Use your hand to follow your vertebra up your back and along your back to your head. Feel how hard your head is. Who knows the name for the protective group of bones hidden inside your head? You're right, that's your skull. Skull bones sit on top of your backbone. They become the second part of your axial skeleton, that group of bones that support the center of your body. Your skull is comprised of a group of bones, 29 in all. Locked together, they protect your brain and some of your body's sensory organs. The top part of your skull, shaped like a bowl and surrounding the brain, is called the cranium. 8 thin, curved bones are tightly interlocked to form a smooth cranial helmet beneath your forehead and your scalp. So the top, which is sort of like the helmet that you would wear when you're skateboarding or riding your bike, is called your cranium. When you were born, those 8 bones still had gaps between them, allowing your brain to grow. But because these gaps don't close completely for about 2 years, babies have a soft spot on their heads, and they need very careful handling. The rest of your skull bones are facial bones, or the bones in your face. Put your hands over your eyes and touch your closed lids very gently. If you push up slightly toward your eyebrows, the round openings in your skull are called eye sockets. You can feel those bones right up underneath your eyebrows. Why are they there? Why do you have eye sockets? They are there to protect your eyes. These sockets are deep enough to hold your eyeballs. There's another hole in your skull. It's just the right size for your nose. And though it's sometimes closed and it's covered up with teeth, what's the biggest opening in your face? Your mouth. Cover your face with your hands right in front of your ears. And open your mouth wide. Close it up. Which bone moved? Does the top of your head move when you do that? No, it's your jawbone that moves. Your lower jaw is attached to the rest of your skull, but your lower jaw is hinged so that it can move up and down, side to side. That's pretty amazing. Does anyone remember the 3 groups of bones that form the axial skeleton down the center of your body? The spine is one, the skull is the other, and the 3rd group of axial bones is also connected to your spine. Reach behind you again and feel the bones that stretch across your back. They wrap around to the front of your body. What are those bones called? That's right, they are called your ribs. Ribs are curved bones that form a protective cage called the rib cage around your heart and your lungs. Ribs come in pairs. Each rib is attached to a vertebra in the middle of your back, and the sternum or breastbone in the middle of your chest. Feel your chest right in the middle. Can you count the number of ribs in your rib cage? How many can you count? You have 24 ribs, 12 pairs in all. I can't resist sharing a joke with you right now because it fits in so well with what you're learning. What did the rib cage say to the heart? Give up? Gotcha covered. Your skull and your ribs both protect vital organs that you cannot live without. That's what vital means. However, your ribs are designed very differently from your skull. Whereas your skull is made of solid, interconnected bones without spaces in between, there are spaces between each of your ribs. Can you guess why it wouldn't work for the rib cage to be one big, solid bone? Take a deep breath, as deep as you can. Now let the air out. What happened to your chest? Put your hands around your chest, right above your waist. Do that again. Take a deep breath in. Make sure your hands are up high above your waist, around your ribs. Take a deep breath in. What happened to your chest? Wow. It goes up and down and in and out when you take a breath, doesn't it? Solid bone around your chest would prevent the diaphragm, that muscle that helps your lungs to expand. It would prevent your diaphragm and lungs from expanding properly with the air you need to breathe. The shape of the spine, combined with the spaces in between each pair of ribs, helps the human body structure to be flexible, to be able to move. That's vital for you to be able to live. Wow, pretty cool. I'll be back tomorrow to talk more about the skeleton. Who's that talking? That's your narrator, Ricardo. Today you learned about axial bones, and tomorrow you'll hear a term that relates to another part of your skeleton. All righty. Bye, Ricardo. See you tomorrow. Boys and girls, let's talk about our axial skeleton and make sure that you're really clear on what that means by going over some of these questions. How many bones does your body have? When you were a baby and you were first born, you had about 300, but now you have 206 bones in your body. You have about 206. That's pretty cool. You heard in the read aloud that when you were born, you had more. What happened to those bones? Did they fall out? No. Bones grow and change over time. Many of the bones that you had when you were first born joined together. Excuse me. Like skull bones and your tailbone. So how do bones heal and grow? Well, the inside of bones are made of marrow, living cells, and tissues that replace worn out cells. So your blood cells, all of your blood cells are made inside your bones. That's an amazing thing. And the ends of your bones, unless you have reached your full height, and you have not yet, the ends of your bones keep growing. They add height. That's how you get bigger. Why is your skeletal system so important? There are a bunch of reasons, and you'll need to know these. Bones give your human body its structure, which means it gives you the shape that you have. Bones allow you to move. Okay. Bones protect vital organs, and bones make blood cells. There are lots and lots of important things that the human skeleton does. They give you your shape. They allow you to move along with the muscle system. Otherwise, you'd just be a little blob of muscles. You wouldn't be able to go anywhere. So the human body does 4 things. Gives you your shape, allows you to move, protects your organs, your vital organs, and makes blood cells. When you were born, were all your bones as strong as they are now? No. Your bones were made out of that rubbery tissue that, like the top of your ear, called cartilage. And some places still have cartilage. The tip of your nose is cartilage. There's cartilage between your vertebrae, and the top of your ear still has cartilage. Okay. Which bones are your axial bones? You'll need to be able to list these. You'll need to always remember these. Which bones are your axial bones? Remember, the axis of the earth is a straight line, straight through the middle. Well, these bones are straight through the middle of your body. Start at the top, you have your skull. Then you have your spine, and attached to your spine, you have the rib cage that's protecting those vital organs. Those are the three sets of bones that are called axial bones. So start at the very top when you need to remember them. Start at the top. You can put your hand up there, your skull, your spine, and your ribs. So if you were going to compare and contrast the axis of the earth to the axial bones in your body, how would you do that? Compare is how they're the same. So you could use word like both of them have blah, blah, blah. Okay, that would be a comparing statement. If you were going to tell me a contrasting statement, you might use the words different. They are different, and then you would tell me how they're different. Okay, so it's very important to use those types of words and to recognize them in your reading and writing. If you see the word both, that says that author, whoever's writing that, is comparing something. If they are telling how things are different, they are contrasting something. So recognize words that an author is using to compare and contrast. Okay, both. Okay, that's a compare statement. Both run through the center of something. Axial bones run through the center of the body. Axis runs through the center of the earth. The bones in your body are real, and they support your body. Okay, you have real bones in your body. Whereas, okay, that's a word that's going to change direction of your thought. Okay, we thought bones are real, whereas the axis of the earth is an imaginary line. So that's a contrast statement. That connecting word in the middle of that sentence means that you're contrasting things. Bones are real, whereas axis is imaginary. Okay? The earth spins on its axis. But, okay, that's another word that connects two different parts of a sentence, and we'll talk about those words later. But the word but is going to change directions in that sentence. So you're thinking one direction, the earth spins around its axis, and our brain and our thoughts are going in one direction, but the human body does not spin around the axial bones. So two contrasting statements and one statement that is comparing. How are bones similar to rocks? If you're talking about how they're the same or similar, that's another compare statement. They are both, you hear that? You think compare. Both hard and strong because they contain minerals. How are bones different from rocks? These are going to be contrast statements. Rocks are solid or hard all the way through, but, okay, that's going to be a statement that changes your thoughts. Bones are only hard on the outside. The inside of bones are porous or hollow. Why is it important for bones to be porous? What's inside bones? Porous bones are lighter weight, which would make our bodies easier to move. Do you remember what other animals have hollow bones that make them easier to move? Birds. Birds have hollow bones. It makes it easier for them to be able to fly. We have hollow bones, and it makes some of our bones are hollow. It makes it easier for us to move. But more importantly, marrow or jelly-like tissue fills the cavities. Remember, cavities means there's a hole inside the bone. Why is bone marrow important? Because it produces blood cells that help fight infections, and blood cells carry oxygen throughout the body, and they allow the bones to grow. Why is it important to eat calcium-rich foods? It's to help keep bones strong with minerals. Calcium's a mineral. Your bones are made of calcium. You need to have calcium going into your body so that your bones can use it to grow and be strong. Do all bones look exactly the same? No. Bones come in many shapes and sizes. And why don't they look the same? Because they are designed to support and protect different parts of your body. They are different shapes because they have different functions. Some of them are holding your body up. Some of them are protecting different parts of your body. Why do the bones in your spinal cord, or what do the bones in your spinal cord protect? The bones of, I said that wrong. I am sorry. Let me try that whole one again. What do the bones in your spinal column protect? They protect the spinal cord. What do the vital organs in your rib cage protect? Those heart and lungs are your vital organs. And what does the skull protect? It protects your brain, your eyes, and your other sensory organs, your ears, okay? Your sense of smell is all connected inside that skull. So your major vital organs are all protected by your axial skeleton. What are the spaces in between your rib cage and the slight bend in your spine doing? What's the job of that space between there and your rib cage and your slight bend of your spine? Well, it allows you to be flexible. Otherwise, you wouldn't ever be able to bend over. How would your life be different if you were never able to bend over? There are many things we would not be able to do. What characteristics of the skeletal system make it a vital part of the human body? What characteristics of the skeletal system make it a vital part of the human body? Thank you very much.